We have footage. Okay. Good, then we'll use it. In the meantime, rolling with what we have, because this is actually, I think people want to hear this. This is huge. So, camera 1, when you're ready, you let me know. Camera 2, when you're ready, you let us know. Camera 3, don't let us know anything. Alright. So, okay. Alright, folks. Welcome back to another me ranting to you about the market, because you're not listening, and you should. I don't care if you listen to me. I care that you understand what's going on so that you don't get wrecked. That's my purpose with a lot of these discussion videos I make. Right? I either talk about marketing and how you can make the most of marketing. Obviously, white hat marketing, ethical marketing is much more. That's my interest. Yeah. But I also talk about things like Bitcoin and crypto and financial markets and things of that nature. And what I have for you, I've already said this in many places already, and I'm going to say it here again. Okay. Since January of 2024, this year, so just over 5 months ago, right? Because now we're like in early June. Just in the last 5 months, over 1 million Bitcoin have been acquired by just the Bitcoin ETFs. I'm going to say that again. Since January 2024, just over 5 months ago, over 1 million Bitcoin have been acquired by the Bitcoin ETFs. And specifically, they've been bought by, for the most part, the banks. Yeah, they've also been bought by some retail investors, etc. But it's the banks who are doing most of that buying. And so even if you are a retail investor and you're buying Bitcoin ETFs, guess what? First of all, obviously, you don't actually own the underlying asset, right? You own the ETF, right? You own a piece of the ETF that you bought, right? If that company happens to go belly, not likely to happen, but if that company that's providing you that ETF goes belly up, guess what they do with the assets that they hold? You think they're going to distribute them to small fish? Or you think they're going to use them to pay whoever they owe money to first? And if, you don't think it can happen, look at what happened to Lehman Brothers. Right? Think about what that means. That 4.5, 4.25, whatever percent of all the amount of BTC that could ever possibly exist has just changed hands in the last 5 months. Mostly from retail traders who lose those monies to traders like us who trade the VEPs on low time frame volatility, entropy, probability, and statistics. A lot of those retail traders, most of them lose their money to HFT firms and exchanges and banks who have trading desks. And then those banks in turn, they're buying, they're winning those Bitcoin in trades because they do have trading desks. And they're taking money that they have and just outright buying more Bitcoin than is produced every day. If you think that they're not trading against you, you're out of your mind, right? They run the markets, these HFT firms, right? And firms like BlackRock, which owns the market already, right? They own like some percentage in just about everything, right? They are like the biggest shareholder, private, group that's a shareholder in markets all around the world. And they have a trading desk. People think, oh no, they only do investment and risk management and research. No, they have active traders, full time, who do nothing but trade. You think they're not trading Bitcoin? Don't kid yourself. 4.5%. And the price, in all that time, yes, it went up. Sure, it even got to all-time highs. But it didn't go much beyond the previous one. It hasn't blasted off and given us a 10x that it's done in many previous, big pumps for many obvious reasons. The VEPS being the most obvious one. And also the fact that each successive big pump, if you look at Bitcoin over the years, these massive pumps are not going up, obviously, as much in terms of the returns as the first and the second one, for obvious reasons, right? Because it doesn't cost less than $1 anymore. It doesn't cost less than $20 or $50 or $100 anymore, right? So the percentage gains on massive pumps that last a long time are clearly not going to be as significant as the percentage gains in the earliest days. Like, that should be obvious to anyone, right? But still, it makes tremendous gains when it makes significant moves to the upside. Does it have to go up hundreds of thousands of dollars? No, it doesn't have to at all. Nevertheless, you'll notice that the million Bitcoin that were acquired, they didn't really affect the price action, except for those that were acquired directly through exchange trades, which is a very small amount compared to the overwhelming amount that were bought over the counter or through other means, right? And what does that tell you? It tells you they want yours. And they're going to do everything they can to keep you from getting more. And they're going to buy as much of it as they can at what they consider to be a good rate of return, a good price. And right now, it's pretty much in that Goldilocks zone where the risk is extremely low and the reward remains very high. Now, why is the risk extremely low? Well, the risk is extremely low because the dollar and other fiats keep losing their value against Bitcoin. And at the same time, literally all of the institutionals are jumping on board to get crypto as much as they can because they see that fiat is losing its purchasing power. They know this since forever. This is not news to them. And they want to get their position in crypto and own as much of it as they can before anybody else in the retail world gets to own any. There's only a couple 100 million people in the world who actually have any Bitcoin. And there's only about 500 million who have any crypto. Think about that. 200 million people out of 8 billion have crypto, have Bitcoin. So we're possibly at around 10% of the market. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 12% of the market for Bitcoin. That means there's still another 8 to 10x in terms of numbers of people that will probably adopt Bitcoin. Like, we're looking at a future where there'll probably be a couple billion people who have some. Maybe not more than that. But those couple billion people will be owning a piece of what is essentially, the future of money, and one of the very big assets in that respect. And even if it doesn't remain the biggest, for now it is the biggest. So does that mean that everybody should run out and get some? No, not necessarily. But does it mean that people should ignore it? And ignore the obvious telltale signs, which are that the banks are literally doing everything in their power to acquire as much Bitcoin and crypto as possible. And they're buying up XRP, they're buying up ETH, they're buying up everything. Now there's an ETH ETF coming out, right? Probably this month or whenever. What do you think's going to happen when that's on the market? Bitcoin's 70 something K, ETH is only like a few grand. What do you think they're going to do? You think they're not going to buy ETH when they have all the programmers working for them? All the ETH programmers that have been working for them for years? You think that's a coincidence? No, they're going to buy the living hell out of ETH. More than they already own, which is already a huge amount. Just saying, they want your Bitcoin. We see it more and more every day. And people are going to lose their minds when they realize Bitcoin isn't just 70K, 100K, 250K. Right? When it's like $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, there's going to be people who sold their share at 15 grand, 20 grand, 70 grand. They're going to lose their mind. And if you think Bitcoin can't ever get to $1 million, $5 million, $10 million or more, they said the same thing about Bitcoin when it was at a penny. They said it'll never get to $1. They said the same thing when Bitcoin was at $2. They said it'll never get to $5. They said the same thing about Bitcoin when it was $10. They said it'll never get to $30. They said the same thing about Bitcoin when it was at $50. They said it'll never get to $100. They said the same thing about Bitcoin when it was at 1,000. They said it'll never get to 10,000. They said the same thing about Bitcoin when it got to 20,000. They said it'll never get to 50,000. And here we are. Bitcoin's pushing 70 grand again. Don't tell me I didn't warn you, is all I'm saying. Don't come to me after you watch my videos and tell me that I didn't tell you. I've been telling you this for years. It is going to continue rising mathematically. That is how it's going to keep happening. Because of the law of supply and demand. People want it. There is a limited supply of it. This is economics 101. You don't have to be a trader or an investor to understand this. If you took a basic econ course in school, let alone college, you would have learned about the law of supply and demand. It's the most basic thing in economics. If you produce something at a rate that is less than people are demanding it, the price for that thing will go up. It's the most basic concept. If you produce something at a rate that is higher than people are demanding it, the price will go down. Right? If you supply more than people want, price goes down. If you supply less than people want, price goes up. And right now, Bitcoin is in great demand, and there is very limited supply. And it's been like that since its inception. Sure, it's had its ups and its downs, and those drawbacks have lasted a year or something in each case, a year and a half. Was that really too much for you to bear? No pun intended. No, not really, right? Unless you were like what they call weak hands, which happens and it's perfectly fine. But the market in general has not seen very, very dark, long bear markets, as they call them, which again, it's just opportunities to short to me, but what they call bear markets, right? When the prices just won't go up past the all-time highs again. First of all, it doesn't matter what the price is. I've discussed this many times. Price is moot. It doesn't matter what the price is. It matters that there is a market and that there is volatility under P/probability and statistics. That makes it tradable. That means you can profit from it. The prices, well, all the price does is attract people who want to buy more, and it makes people who are holding it already happier if it's going up. But the limited supply of Bitcoin is part of the reason that it is in great demand. And the fact that all the banks are buying it should be a very clear signal to every single person that they don't want you to have any. If they're going to let you have any, it's going to be at a heck of a premium. They don't want you to have any Bitcoin. They want all of it. And they're doing everything they can to control all of it. And it's not just the banks. It's also every big wealthy family, every wealthy investor, every wealthy investment group, every big company. They're all buying as much as they can. Now, yes, there are groups that theoretically could buy the entire market. They have more than $1 trillion available in some respect, in some ways, by collectively putting their assets together. Right? Like if Apple decided, no, we're going to just flip our treasury and we're going to become a Bitcoin company. And their market cap is like, almost 2 trillion. Microsoft's market cap is more than 3 trillion. They could buy all the Bitcoin, in theory, if you would sell them yours, which I hope you don't, but that's up to you. I mean, I don't tell you what to do. I'm just saying, I hope you collectively as the market don't. It's not gardening advice. But I seriously hope you don't, because if the retail space gives up its position to the banks at such low prices, retail's going to hurt when Bitcoin pumps through the, extremely high returns, and the prices that follow are going to drive people crazy. It's going to happen. You'll see. I've been warning people about it for years and years. And admittedly, I am not the only person that's been warning about this. So if you think I'm the only crazy guy saying this, I'm definitely not. The question is, what are you going to do about it? If you hold Bitcoin, right? Think to yourself, what are you going to do about it? If you've been telling this to your friends and family and they've been ignoring you, what are you going to do about it? You can't force them, right? You're getting less and less of it for the same amount of money, because the dollar purchasing power keeps decreasing against Bitcoin. Dollar's purchasing power has decreased 99.9% against Bitcoin in 15 years. Think about that. In just 15 years, the amount of Bitcoin that you can get for $1 has decreased by 99.9%. What does that mean? That means that what you could buy for 10 cents 15 years ago now costs you $1, right? Think about that. Or what you would have gotten for $1 15 years ago Now you get 10 cents worth instead of $1 worth. That's what it means. So, $99.9%, right? You get 99.9% less Bitcoin for the same amount of money that you did 15 years ago. Think about that the next time somebody is trashing Bitcoin to your face and saying, oh, it's just hype, it's just a scam, it's just a whatever. If it's just a whatever, why does it have these kind of returns year after year? People have no idea what they're about to miss. It's almost sad. In fact, devastatingly so. Please don't be one of the cases that ends up being so sad. That's it for now. Happy trading.